Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. A judge rules in a village road restriction suit, and what prestigious award did a local man receive?
Stay tuned. Learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Chief Judge Nancy Grant denied the Oxford Trucking Company TKMS request for a temporary restraining order, which would allow their heavy gravel trucks access to West Burdick Street. You may recall from previous news, the Village of Oxford passed an ordinance restricting heavy trucks from using West Burdick Street. The ordinance was created due to residents' complaints of excessive noise, wear, and tear on the road, and safety issues involving the big trucks. Although there are over 10 possible alternate routes, TKMS said driver safety is threatened by using the other routes. A map on the alternate routes convinced the judge that truck drivers are not solely dependent on Burdick Street and agreed with the existing village ordinance.
It looks as though village tax revenue is about to take a jump up. Village-owned property at 98 Gillespie is the focus of a 3.5-acre, 76-unit residential development by Oxford developer Chuck Schneider. While the village paid nearly $700,000 for that property over 10 years ago, Schneider offered $225,000 for the non-productive, non-taxable plot as is. Currently, the location has a deteriorated building that may need to come down to make way for the development.
Meyer was the target of a young man who attempted to steal $1,000 worth of merchandise, including sports watches, boots, and speakers. Loss prevention officers, however, circumvented the theft after observing the minor hiding merchandise in his clothing. An Oakland County sheriff intercepted the youngster and released the boy to his parents with a warning that a warrant would follow the incident.
A $10,000 theft occurred in Oxford, but home invasion was not the case. A local mother discovered her $10,000 engagement ring missing after her son, who had had a drug addiction issue in the past, spent the week at the Oxford home. The day after his departure, the ring was not in the home. After an intensive investigation into local pawn shops, the ring is still missing.
We are happy to learn the editor of Oxford Leader, C.J. Canaccio, has earned 2 Excellent in Journalism awards from the Detroit chapter of Society of Professional Journalists. The 39-year-old Oxford resident was acclaimed for the editorial piece about the Parks and Recreation Center vote, and his picture entitled "A Rootin' Tootin' Shootin' Good Time," a shot of John Rose firing his .45 caliber pistol during the Lone Ranger competition. To Oxford's very own, good job, C.J. Canaccio. Well, that's kind of nice, huh?
A rootin', tootin', shootin' good time is a lot for you to say. And good for C.J. From what I understand, that's his 79th award.
Very talented young man.
He really is. He really is. The leader's very lucky to have him.
Yes.
He's prolific. He is amazing at just seeing a story and writing it. And good for him.
And his wife,
I envy him.
His wife is an excellent cook, too.
Oh, she sure is. Don't forget to watch Connie on Connie's Kitchen. But I want to promote another show that we shot last week and we will be airing throughout this week with Brad Jacobson, our state representative, who came into the studio to explain that proposal 1 for the gas tax to us, and he made it a lot clearer. I actually was able to make a decision after talking with him.
Yeah, I was able to chit-chat with him just for a few moments before he went on air, and there's quite a bit to it, and you folks need to read, about the issue and its complex nature. Check out the show that Terry's talking about that we have here. I think it may enlighten you a little bit more about the voting.
It helped a lot. And he recommended, there was a piece written by the Detroit Free Press on March 24th. So it was a Sunday paper. But you can get excerpts of that. You cannot see the whole article on their website, but go to their website too. That'll help you answer some questions. But speaking of the vote coming up on May 5th. We haven't chatted lately with people from NODA or Addison, so we don't have any updates on how that's going out there. But I want to remind people that that's an important issue to vote on. NODA is no longer able to pick up riders in Leonard and Addison townships because Addison Township chose, the entire township, voted not to up the millage and contribute $70,000 that they need to, for those riders out there. I did speak with Lynn Gustafson, who is the director of NODA, and they are considering expanding the territory to Romeo area, which I understand that might have been part of the issue as to why people didn't vote for it, because they do their shopping, that east quadrant does their shopping, et cetera, in Romeo. So that's encouraging.
That's a major issue out there in Addison.
Sure is.
If you folks want to get out there and vote, that's May 5th, the
Yeah.
election, you be there.
And I know that NODA helped a lot of people get to the polls. If you call Bruce, the township supervisor, and maybe request they rent a NODA bus to get people to those polls, that would be a good way to get people there too. I know there's a lot of people out there that need rides, so.
Well, we'll know after May 5th how that one went.
I wish I could vote. I'm not in this community anymore, but that's it for Oxford News this week. If you want to learn more about these stories and others, stop by your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper. And better yet, catch us right here on OCTV, Charter Channel 191 and AT&T Channel 99.
Right, and coming up next on OCTV, tune in for Oxford Local Sports with Jamie Hughes. Catch Oxford School News with John Ochins, and join Dave Kenny with Auto Talk and Science in the News.
I'm Terry Stiles, and this is Oxford News This Week, where your news is closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Your local business.
Your police department.
Your local business.
Your Village of Oxford.
The schools. Your parks and recreation.
Your community.
Your community.
Only on OCTV. Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, the Disneyland measles outbreak was declared over, but the death threats and Nazi references are still circulating. The outbreak, which began at the California park in December, has seen 147 people from 7 states contract the virus. Of the 81 Californians whose vaccination status is known, 70% were unvaccinated. California senators were due to vote on a bill designed to prevent parents from exempting their kids from standard school vaccinations on the grounds of personal belief rather than general medical reasons. That is to say, genuine medical reasons. The bill has proved highly contentious with vociferous protests from the anti-vaccination lobby, a Facebook post portraying the senator who co-wrote the bill as a Nazi, and threatening emails sent to the author's offices. The U.S. isn't the only country struggling with its vaccination rates. The Disneyland outbreak is dwarfed by an ongoing measles epidemic in Germany. As of Monday, there have been 1,738 cases reported, quadruple the number for 2014. The outbreak has led to calls for mandatory measles vaccinations. In Australia, the government announced a no jab, no pay policy last week that will mean withholding welfare payments from parents who fail to have their children immunized. It follows the death of a 4-week-old baby last month from whooping cough who was too young to be vaccinated against the disease. And at home, in U.S. schools, vaping rules. In 2014, for the first time, electronic cigarettes roared past conventional cigarettes as the smoke of choice for U.S. teenagers. Whether the rise of e-cigarettes is welcome news or a fresh face on an old public health menace is not yet clear. The percentage of high schoolers smoking e-cigarettes leaped from 1.5% in 2011 to 13.4% in 2014. That makes e-cigarettes the most commonly consumed tobacco product. The survey showed cigarette smoking was down from 15.8% in 2011 to 9.8% in 2014 among this age group. If the 22,000 youngsters polled in the National Youth Tobacco Survey are representative of their peers nationwide, this equates to 2.4 million students vaping last year, triple the number in 2013. Using a hookah was also twice as popular among high schoolers in 2014 as in 2013. The study was carried out by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, CDC, and its thinking on the matter is clear. In the case of kids, e-cigarettes are harmful all by themselves because of the effects of nicotine on children's brains, says Brian King of the organization's Office on Smoking and Health. The big picture here is we're seeing a striking increase. It's very concerning. It more than counterbalances the decrease in cigarette smoking which we've seen occurring over the last few years. The Food and Drug Administration is mulling over new rules that would bring all tobacco products, including e-cigarettes, under the same legal blanket. Currently, e-cigarettes may be marketed to children, but their manufacturers could soon find themselves bound by the same strict regulations as their combustible cousins. And on the medical front, we'll call it, we may owe our survival and complexity to a stowaway virus that springs to life in the very first cells of human embryos. Not only does the virus seem to protect embryos from other viruses, but it also assists genes when groundwork is underway for the body plan of a new human. The finding backs the controversial idea that the viruses which took up residence in our DNA millions of years ago may be playing the role of a puppet master quietly influencing our existence and evolution. Retroviruses insert their genetic material into the cells of their human or animal host. At first, this causes disease and death. Over time, however, the host evolves resistance to the virus, allowing any DNA that has embedded itself in the sperm or egg cells to be passed down to the next generation. The virus is now known as the endogenous retrovirus, or ERV, a permanent fixture in the host's genome. About 9% of our genome is thought to have come about this way. Until recently, these viral relics were largely dismissed as inactive junk that ceased to have any impact on our host many thousands of years ago. The discovery that HERVK, the most recent ERV to make itself at home in our DNA probably around 200,000 years ago, is active in human embryos, challenges that notion. Joanna Wysocka and her colleagues at Stanford University in California made the unexpected find while they were analyzing gene activity in 3-day-old human embryos, which are bundles of 8 cells. Besides DNA from the parents, they found genetic material from HERVK. The cells were full of a viral protein product, some of which had assembled to form viral-like particles, said Wysocka. Further experiments revealed that the virus appears to produce a protein that prevents other viruses penetrating the embryo, suggesting it protects the embryo from dangerous circulating viruses such as influenza. It also seems to play a crucial role in the genetic activity of the embryonic cells, helping to give genetic instructions to the cellular protein factories. Tantalizingly, the stowaway virus may even provide clues to what makes us different from chimpanzees and other non-human primates. Some researchers have previously argued that ERVs may play a key role in how each species diverge from each other by activating different body plans and gene networks that may give one individual an edge over other members of the species. Wow. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Oxford Sports. Again, the Red Wings are hopefully going to advance themselves after Game 6. We taped this prior to Game 6, and we wish them luck in their endeavors. Go Wings. Hey, with both the girls and boys varsity track teams off to an 0-1 start of the season, you'd think the coaches would be a little upset. Nope, the coaches see promise. Because of a greater depth, it gives them greater flexibility to move runners around, spread out the points. On the girls' side, they're looking for returnee Jennifer Brazington to be strong on the field in both the shot put and discus. Assistant coach Keith Johnson said there's a good mix of seniors, freshmen, and on the girls' side. She has some strong returning seniors. The Oxford Invitational will take place. We'll have the results on next week's broadcast. A 10-run explosion in the lady softball explosion in the third inning. Oxford Wildcats to an 18-3 win over the 4 innings of play against the Farmington High School at Oxford High School. That took place on Thursday. The Oxford Wildcats varsity scored in their third on a 2-run triple by Hannah Vachon and an RBI double by Jordan Romine. The 2-run single by Jordan Zengeyer, a ground out by Sherilyn Bannis, and a ground out by Madison Dingus. An RBI single by Sky Donaldson and an RBI single by Vachon also passed. Vachon racked up 3 RBIs on 3 hits for the Oxford Wildcats. Varsity Vachon also recorded a win for the Wildcats as well. She allowed 3 runs over 4 innings. Vachon struck out 7, walked 1, gave up 5 hits. The Oxford Wildcats varsity easily handed Farmington High School, pitching as 6 hitters combined with 15 hits, 11 RBIs, 14 runs. Wow. Banks also couldn't get it done on the rubber for Farmington High School. In fact, they pulled her after 2 1/3 innings. She walked 1, struck out 3, and allowed only 4 runs. The Oxford Wildcats varsity jumped out to a 1-0 lead at the top of the first. A solo blast by Bannis started the inning off. The Oxford Wildcats varsity tacked on another 7 runs in the fourth, including Dingus. She singled, scoring Zingeyer and Madeline Morris to kick things off. That was also followed by Donaldson's single, bringing home Bannis and Dingus. Congratulations to the ladies softball team. The Oxford Athletic Department just recently hosted on Tax Day, April 15th, the final opportunity for the media to take a look at the 25 athletes that'll be heading on to college. Yeah, that picture was taken at the Oxford High School Performing Arts Center. If you'd like more information about these athletes and their stories and how they got where they were, check out the Oxford Athletic website. It's oxfordathletics.org. One word, oxfordathletics.org. Check it out. Pretty interesting reading. In Oxford tennis, 2 matches against Hamtramck this past week. Number 1 singles player Rebecca Kroll had 2 sets, resulting in a 10-point match playoff, which garnered Oxford a win. Also, Oxford took on Hazel Park with another win. Rebecca Kroll there behind the net. Catch both matches on this weekend's broadcast. Great to see tennis on OCTV. Jumping to the diamond, Oxford baseball rallied in the 6th and 7th inning to salvage a win with the game of the Wildcats in a 3-game Oakland Activities Association Red Division Series, say that 3 times, against Rochester on Friday. Trailing by a pair of runs and losing the first 2 games of the series by a combined 25-4, entering in the 6th inning. Oxford cranked out 5 hits, 4 runs in the 6th inning, including a pinch hit, 2 RBI singles by Max Blackburn to take a 6-4 lead. Oxford now 4-4, 1-2 in the league. Will host the OAA Red doubleheader. They're going to host it against the Green and White Lake Orion. In ladies soccer, Thursday night, the game, both Clarkson Wolves and Oxford Wildcats had already tied 3 of their first 6 games, including a 1-1 draw against each other in late March. So it only seemed fitting that the teams played to another draw, and that's exactly what happened. They finished that contest at 0-0. Both teams had a small handful of high-quality chances, but for the most part, the defenses dominated from the start to the finish. Oxford is now 2-1-4 overall. They are 1-1-3 in league play. The Oxford hosts Lake Orion. Again, a big rivalry there. We'll take a look at that in next week's broadcast as well. Just a reminder, catch all the programs you see on OCTV. It can be easily viewed online on your personal device. Go to OCCTV.org, hit the Programs tab, hit YouTube. You can actually watch it on your computer, iPad, or your phone whenever you want, wherever you're at. Check it out. Again, you can catch our broadcasting of sports on the weekends on Saturday and Sundays. We are sporting contests when we have them between 1 and 6 p.m. on OCTV. Once again, that's going to put a wrap on it in sports. Hope you have yourself a great time. Enjoy yourself. Go Red Wings. I will be back next week with more Oxford sports. Enjoy your week, everybody.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcats School Update. These are busy times around the Oxford School District, what with M-Step on a roll and the high school band and orchestra headed for New York City, robotics team 2137 going to Worlds in St. Louis, and more. We'll have more on those next week. The latest Oxford School Board meeting was held at our middle school the other night. Principal Daisha Beasley's kids did a couple of presentations, not the least of which concerned teamwork and the web program. That stands for Where Everybody Belongs. It's designed to help kids moving from our elementaries into the middle school, a tough transition. As a demonstration of teamwork, the kids had our board members link hands in a circle and try to keep balloons in the air. Afterwards, teacher Josh Smokovitz explained the program.
They come in during the summer and train, and they learn the skills of working in small groups with the students, the sixth graders coming in, and then they participate in the orientation day. The orientation day is a full assembly for about an hour, and then we break up into small groups where these students will be in partnerships, and they'll have a group of 10 or 15 students, and they'll go do breakout activities like this to do team building and bonding, because as you know, the transition to fifth grade and sixth grade is a very huge transition in the life of our students and their families. And these web leaders do an awesome job at being kind of our first line of offense, if you will, bringing our multiple elementary schools of fifth graders into one building.
Josh Smokovitz. We'll have more on that and other programs on future editions of Schooling Around. The board is also working on updating Deputy Tim Throne's contract so he can begin his term as superintendent on June 1st rather than September 1st. This is to allow him a head start in that position before the next school year begins. Among the end of the year programs coming up will be a concert by the middle school drummers. We stopped by for a rehearsal this week and spoke with teacher Jan Flynn. She tells us about her background with the program.
I started working with world music drumming in about 2003, 2004, so it's a little over 10 years. And I've been able to incorporate the marimbas and the hand drumming, which includes shakers and bells, with the drums, and we create African and Latin American tunes. Sometimes they're original tunes and sometimes they're actual tunes from the other countries.
Jan explains the inspiration for the drumming program.
Well, I think the inspiration for this it was originally created by a gentleman in Wisconsin named Will Schmid, and he went to the Remo company, which is the biggest drum company in the world, and he said, I have a vision of being able to introduce world music drumming ensembles into the schools for children of the middle school age in particular, upper elementary and middle school. And it not only teaches learning how to do music, but it also teaches us how to listen to one another. It teaches us care and compassion for others as they learn their parts. It teaches individuality because they have to hold on to their own part while someone's playing a different part. It teaches them creativity so that they can learn how to do new things while listening to others play different parts. It is accessible because the students learn rhythms fairly quickly, and within quite a short amount of time, we are really creating wonderful music.
Watch for their year-end concert coming up later in May at the Performing Arts Center. If you wish to get DVDs of those, they are available from our station. That's the Oxford School News Update for this week. Auto Talk with Dave Kenny is next, followed by the calendar of events. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
Welcome to the segment of the news we call Your Weekly Calendar of Events, where we feature your weekly calendar of local Oxford and ASSA community events, including charity, special fundraisers, and general community information. Now, if you or your organization would like help to get your message out to the public, contact us for detailed information at our studio phone number at 248-628-9658, or go to our website, occtv.org. Saturday, May 9th, 6 p.m., a spring concert will be performed at the Oxford Free Methodist Church, 790 South Lapeer Road, by the Classic Choral. You are sure to enjoy the talent and many vocals presented. Your local Oxford Chamber of Commerce is looking for sponsors to participate in their May 31st second annual Oxford Chamber Challenge 5K Run, Walk, and 10K Run. If you would like to be a sponsor in this year's charity event, call 248-628-0410 and ask for Nicole Alexander, the director. If you represent an organization wishing to show your support for our local Oxford schools, sports, music concerts, or any of the many programs broadcast by our TV station, you could become a sponsor or an underwriter on OCTV. A promotional television spot would be created and recognition would be given to you by our sports announcers during the event. It's easy and it's inexpensive. For more information, contact our TV station manager, Bill Service, at 248-628-9658, or you can send a message of interest to Bill's email address, manager@occtv.org. Now, we at Oxford Community TV would like our television viewing public to learn more about your club or organization's special upcoming event or charity. So, if you would like to get your special event mentioned on our television show, call us at 248-628-9658 or go to our website at occtv.org. Just one final reminder, you can locate our OCTV program schedule by going to our website, occtv.org, and clicking on Schedule. There you will find a list of OCTV broadcast programs, dates, and times. And one program I highly recommend is Bill Service, who always has interesting local stories and interviews on our Community Access program. Just check it out. This is Oxford Community Television, OCTV. I'm your host, Elgin Nichols. We invite you to join us again for the next segment of your weekly calendar of events.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, to say the redesigned Cadillac Escalade is a hit would be an understatement. A year after it reached showrooms, buyers are spending about $83,000 on average, up $13,000 from the last generation. Sales more than doubled in the first quarter to 7,901, and buyers have been snapping up the ESV long wheelbase model off the lot in less than a month on average. Cadillac's product planners already are mulling the next iteration of the hulking SUV, says Cadillac boss Johan Denishin. The Escalade embodies almost none of the brand's attributes Cadillac is using to transform itself. It's not a performance vehicle, it's not laden with new technology, and it doesn't have a Cadillac exclusive engine. At the New York Auto Show last month, Denishin called the Escalade an iconic sub-brand and amazingly successful. He also acknowledged the delicacy in planning an encore. Can you think of the interesting conversations that take place in our planning meetings, said Denishin? How do you balance the desire to bring it into alignment with where we're taking the brand and the equally intense desire not to screw a good thing up? In our next story, Ray Kurzweil, inventor, futurist, and Google's director of engineering, opened the SAE World Congress by pointing out that predicting the future is easy if you do it right. And he concluded self-driving cars are inevitable. In a wide-ranging speech in front of a standing room crowd, Kurzweil laid out how and why he sees technology impacting lives over the next 30 years and beyond. He touched on everything from 3D printing to virtual reality, immortality, and autonomous cars, but he said advances in each were linked by a common thread. There's one aspect of the future you can really predict and anticipate when disruptive change will occur, Kurzweil said on stage. The price, performance, and capacity of information technology. Not every technology follows a very predictable path. Google's top visionary delved into the automotive world at a time when his company is developing autonomous vehicles and showing early prototypes. On self-driving cars, Kurzweil said not only will they help drastically reduce the number of people injured and killed in accidents, they'll also free us up to do something useful with our commute times. Additionally, the ownership model for cars will change once they're able to drive themselves, potentially shifting to something like Uber or the house-sharing app Airbnb, Kurzweil said. Breakthroughs in battery technology for both hydrogen fuel cell and electric vehicles remain 10 to 15 years away as they piggyback on developments in nanotechnology that will allow for much denser energy storage than is available today. Later in this century, virtual reality will become indistinguishable from actual reality, and humans will be able to back up their brains much in the same way they back up phones and computers today. The path for technology development is exponential rather than linear, Kurzweil said. This is why a smartphone today is 1,000,000 times cheaper and several thousand times more powerful than computers when Kurzweil, now 67, was a student at MIT in the late 1960s. Over the course of his speech, Kurzweil discussed how this accelerating pace of advancements will impact life, a theme he's written about at length in several best-selling books. In his first, written in 1990, Kurzweil predicted the rise of the internet and connected smartphones more than a decade before they became mainstream. By extrapolating this growth into the future, Kurzweil said he expects a $1,000 computer will be able to emulate all the computations of the brain by 2022. Advances in 3D printing will allow consumers to print clothes from home by the end of the decade. Computers will continue to shrink, so much so that by 2030, they'll be the size of blood cells, which will have a dramatic effect on prolonging life. This will also allow people to connect directly to the internet without external devices, an advancement that isn't as big a leap from what is done today as it may seem, he pointed out. Our brains are already on the internet, just need to use devices to access information with our fingers, our eyes, and ears, Kurzweil said. But not everything can be fixed by technology, the inventor admitted. You can fix a broken heart, for example, but not yet for romance. That's going to take a few more decades. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.